This is Baruch Fleischman, your Saba here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. We understand that the world is a world at war all the time. There are wars in families, there are wars in cities, there are wars in neighborhoods. There are wars between countries. It's constantly happening. It's a part of the reality of this world. Cain did kill Abel, and there's a struggle for food. That's what's basically the struggle of man. And there's ways of surviving this, and one of the ways is ideology. This is a way of believing in something, even if it's not good. This is the Sefer Shmuel. It's an old book. I don't have a new one. And so we're going to be reading here about the life and the time of our king, King David. Because King David was a warrior. He was a man, a beautiful, beautiful man, the singer of great songs, but he was a warrior and he lived in a time of war. And we see that the nature of Eretz Yisrael is such that it's surrounded, always has been, surrounded by enemies. Let's take a look. There's a little map in here. Let's see if I can get it on the page. So let's get it up higher so maybe we could see the whole thing at one time and get a little bit of focus on it. Does that help? Yes, it does. So this here, the outline, right, of the Yishuv of Eretz Yisrael. It's not exactly the same as we have today, but pretty close. And the only reason why I say that is because you have, a lot way down at the bottom. Down here, it's not on the map. Apparently was an issue back then. Now here it really talks about the layout of the different tribes of where everybody was located. Let's go from the top, the very northern part of Israel, and this is the Hermon. Most people know where the Hermon, this is the Galil, this is the Hermon, the highland. He said apparently this is where the tribe of Dan lived. Dan. We have the whole story about Shimshon. He was from the tribe of Dan. And we'll see something else in a minute about where the Philistines are located way down here in the bottom of the map. That's Ashkelon and then Gaza. So that's where we're at right now. So let's zoom in a little bit more so that we can see some of the detail. So you see here, so there's Dan way up by the on the I guess you would say the west side of the Hermon. And then you see some other southern names. These are other nations. A nation called Aram. And then there's Bashan. And then in the middle of this area, which was conquered by the Jews, was the tribe of Manasseh. Manasseh was there. And also you see this is the Jordan River, so we can understand that this, as the Palestinians of the Jordan to the sea, Palestinians will be free. That's talking about the Philistines over here. These are our enemies. And here's God over here, Manasseh, we said over there, God and Reuven all live on this side of the river. So then you go in starting from the top, then you see the Naphtali, really where we think about today. Let's get up here. Let me see if we can get it here. Naphtali is around the Kinneret. So I have interest or property in Tzfat, which is in the area of Naphtali. So these are the names that existed there. I see you don't see the name Tzfat here. Okay, so these are the Canaanites are up here in this area by Sidon. And then you come into the tribe of Asher. Now that looks to me like it would be Akko. There's Akko. Something I recognize. So that's the area of Asher. Then you move down more into the center of the country, which I think is really getting close to what we call Zevulun and Yisachar are in the Shomron. What today is called the Shomron. Here's the word Shomron. So he says, and this is Yisachar, and this here's Manasseh coming down. There is a Manasseh. Half of the tribe is in Israel proper, and the other half of the tribe is on the other side of the Jordan River. So here we also have Beit Shan. Some people might know that this is the lower Galil. That's what it's called. That's the area of Manasseh. Then you go closer to Jerusalem itself. And here we pick up the tribe of Ephraim. Ephraim is the dominant tribe of the north, and we know something about the history of the northern tribes. So in that area, is also right below that, which is really the area. This is Gilgal, and this is Bnei Brak and Yaffo, which is where Tel Aviv is, and all of this area going here is Ephraim, and then, but on the border of it is Binyamin. The Binyamin to the east is the site of the Holy of Holies. We'll go on. And this is Bethel, which is going to be also Jerusalem, perhaps. Beth Horon, I'm not sure about that. Here's Yericho. Oh, here's Jerusalem down here. So this is the whole area of Binyamin, and here's the contrast between Binyamin and Yehuda. We just had last week in Parshas Vayigash the meeting of Binyamin and regards Parshas Mechet. The meeting of Binyamin here and Yehuda, and here they are. It's very interesting that they meet at the place of the Holy of Holies, of the Holy Temple. So exactly how that thing that Yosef must have Benjamin come to him. Very difficult story over there. There's a lot to be said about it. And then down at the bottom we see here is Shimon. Now, Shimon is at the very bottom part of the settlement of Eretz Yisrael. Now, let's go over here and just read a little bit. Again, this is an old book, not a new book. And you could see, if you look at the pages, they're a little bit yellowed. It's been sitting, I haven't looked at it a lot. And the and the English here is very, very simple. But at the same time, it reflects that the language and the way that language was used many years ago in this book, actually the Hebrew part of the book is 3,000 years old. So you're talking about something that's been copied, something that's been talked about in the language, but we tried to be as specific as we can to recreate what was given to us from our ancestors. So here it is. Let's see if I can get this a little bit more focused. So the story goes like this, and we'll try to pick it up. And it was after Saul's death, and David returned from beating the Amalekites, that David, dwelt in Ziklag 2 days. Now it was on the 3rd day, and behold, a man came from the camp from Saul, and his clothes were rent, torn, and there was earth on his head. And it was when he came to David that he fell to the ground and prostrated himself. And David said to him, "Where are you coming from?" And he said to him, "From the camp of Israel I've escaped." David said to him, "What was the situation? Tell me now." And he said that the people fled from the battle, and also many of the people fell and died, and also Saul and his son Jonathan. Well, I say Jonathan as we say in Hebrew. He says Jonathan died. And David said to the youth who told him, "How did you know that Saul and his son Jonathan died?" And the youth who told him said, "I chanced to be on Mount Gilboa, and behold, Saul was leaning on his spear. And behold, the chariots and the leaders of the cavalry had overtaken him. And he turned around behind him, and he saw me, and he called to me, and he said, 'Here I am.' And he said to me, 'Who are you?' And I said to him, 'I am an Amalekite. I'm an Amalekite.'" Now, Amalekite is the sworn blood enemy of the Jews. Just think Hitler, just think Torquemada, just think of Haman. And he said to me, "Stand over me now and put me to death, for a shudder has seized me, for as long as my life is within me." And I stood over him, and I put him to death, for I knew that he would not live after his fall. And I took the crown which was on his head, and the amulet which was on his arm, and I have brought them here to my Lord. And David took hold of his clothes and rent them. And likewise all the men who were with him, they all saw this as a tremendous tragedy. And they lamented and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord and for the house of Israel, for they had fallen by the sword. And David said to the youth who told him, "From where are you?" And he said, "I am the son of an Amalekite stranger." Ager Amalek. It means stranger here means a convert. And David said to him, "How did you not fear to stretch forth your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? Why did you not, look at the words, why were you not afraid to kill the Lord's anointed. That's basically what he said. So he said, David called one of the youths and said, go near, fall upon him. And he struck him, and he died. And David said to him, your blood be upon your head, for your mouth has testified against you, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed. And David lamented this lamentation over Saul and over his son and Jonathan his son. And he said to teach the sons of Judah the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of the just, O beauty, O Israel of Israel, on your high places shall lie the slain. How have the heroes fallen? Tell it not in Gath, which is Philistia, which is Gaza. Announce it not in the streets of Ashkelon. Ashkelon is very close. Lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice. Let the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. O mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew nor rain upon you, nor shall you be fields of heave offerings. For there the shield of the mighty was rejected. Saul's shield was as though not anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, Jonathan's bow did not turn back, nor did Saul's sword return empty. Saul and Jonathan, Jehonathan, his son, who were beloved and pleasant in their lifetime, and in their death they were not separated. They were swifter than eagles and mightier than lions. O daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, in our language Shaul, who dressed you in crimson with delights, who put golden garments on your clothes. How did the mighty fall in the midst of the battle? Jonathan, on your high places you were slain, and I am distressed for you. My brother Jonathan, you were very pleasant to me. Your love was more wonderful to me than the love of women. How have the mighty fallen and the weapons of war persisted? Read the last line again. How have the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished? This is Baruch Fleischman. This is the story contained in the second book of Samuel, which actually is all one book, but it's been divided up. I think the publishers did that. I think I heard that from Rabbi Wein, Beryl Wein. So let's hear anything you might think about this story. And this is Baruch Fleischman here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel.